Okay, thank you. Thanks for the reminder. Oh my, look at all these treats. Very nice. Those are great.
garbage. Are we missing some really?
The 70s.
She's on the agenda.
Missing?
That was Tuesday.
Hey, there you go. There you go.
If you stay here all night,
Yeah. Too bad you can't do them driver's licenses. At least they do have a longer period. They used to be like every 3 years. Now it's like every, I don't know. Well, no, it's longer now. It's like 5 or maybe even longer. Well, you know, I actually, for the first time, I actually had a decent picture. It's like the first time in my life. Usually they're horrible. So it was like a.
Went through it. It's really good.
So we're always critical of our own pictures, aren't we? Yeah.
Try to pay attention to.
We took a trip.
Oh, good.
Me and
Hey,
Tracy,
we were gonna dismiss because you didn't show up. We were like, hey, we're going home.
10-minute rule.
That's right.
Short meeting here tonight.
Oh, yeah, that's going to happen.
his parents, and his sister, and her father. And then we went in this little restaurant. We went to the museum. And we saw sharks.
This was a bad day. I
So
said, all
funny.
this
I
rain.
put this big bag and everything just kind of flops around in it. I put all my little lotion and stuff in a little bag.
That's a good idea.
In a bag. And so then I'm searching them.
Stretching, feeling around for it. Yep. Yeah, there's one. Oh, in front of us too. Okay.
Awesome. They got the time up there.
It's nice they put it up top too, so we don't have to, you know. All right.
So I moved to the
You did it.
You asked me.
I'm sitting over there, so I can't see him. Good.
We rejoined it, didn't we?
I'd like to call the meeting to order of the Kansas City, Kansas Community College Board of Trustees meeting, May 21st, 2019. And we will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Cecilia Brewer.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll now have roll call.
Trustee Ash,
Here.
Trustee Brown,
Here?
Trustee Criswell,
Here.
Trustee Daniels,
Here.
Trustee Bonner,
Here.
Trustee McIntyre. Here. Trustee Sutton.
Here.
All right. Now I'm needing a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Now, do we have anyone in the audience that would like to come forward and present? Any patrons or petitioners this evening? Okay. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Diane Plunkett. I am your coordinator for the Early Childhood Education and Development Program here at Kansas City, Kansas Community College. I come forward this evening with a statement of dissenting opinion. I understand the vendor choice for the child care will most likely not change, and that is not the primary intent of this letter of dissenting opinion. My intention is to emphasize shared governance and shared decision-making when basic philosophical differences of higher education, and specifically the role of the community college, are allowed to go unchallenged. I hold this process does not serve Wyandotte County, the Kansas City, Kansas Community College, faculty, staff, or students. I am writing this statement of dissenting opinion because I am in disagreement with the vendor selection process for the Child Care Center. I hesitate to use the word vendor selection as this divorces the college from the community responsibility. Words matter. And we are talking about the value we place on early care and education of our families, not a concession stand during a sporting event. The committee comprised of myself, Dr. Mosier, Dr. Krieger, Dr. Catolo Ring, Ms. Janice McIntyre, and Mr. Michael Beach reviewed submitted requests for proposals on April 2nd. At that time, I voiced concern that it would bear a great amount of goodwill in the community if we focus on entities located within our service area. Dr. Mosier's response was, people just need to get over it. It was my understanding at the time only 2 proposals were considered viable options. After debating the merits of both proposals, I conceded the best business proposal was Early Childhood Consultants of Olathe, Kansas. A site visit was scheduled with Mr. Beach, Dr. Krieger, and myself. Information conveyed by Mr. Beach during the site visit indicated Dr. Mosier was in possession of the letter of intent. After the site visit, I shared concerns and requested via email to Mr. Beach and Dr. Krieger the committee revisit the second proposal and complete a site visit to Deer Place in Leavenworth. The center of my concern remains on the appropriate nature of services provided. I fully appreciate the intentions of the early childhood consultants as to their beliefs and approach. However, as I have indicated to Mr. Beach and Dr. Mosier, alignment with best practices in the field of early care and education does not support highly academic curriculum for young children. My professional expertise in this area is notwithstanding. Position statements of professional organizations inform the early childhood field, including 0 to 3, the National Association for the Education of Young Children, the Division of Early Childhood, the National Association of School Psychologists, the National Science Teachers Association. Additionally, validated research supports skills other than academic as more indicative of school and life success, including attainment of higher education, workforce entry, and positive health outcomes. It is my professional opinion that Dr. Mosier has weighted key factors disproportionately in the selection process related to this decision. First, this process has continued to support placation and the obfuscation of faculty input and true shared governance. After 18 months of meetings and at the behest of Faculty Senate, the Early Childhood Education and Development Program, in coordination with parents, faculty, staff, and community members, put forth a proposal which was approved by the Dean's Council, Faculty Senate, and Staff Senate. It was supported by the Chief Financial Officer as of spring of 2018. This proposal was dismissed and ignored in its entirety by the administration with the stated sentiment February 1st in a meeting with Dr. Mosier that KCKCC is not in the business of childcare. My response then, as it is now, I disagree, and we would need to revisit that statement at a later time. This may be that time. Second, the decision has been made through a single vetting to an RFP process without regards for presentation or site visits. Again, while the term vendor has been bandied about, we are talking about the early care and education of young children, not simply a business of lease of space. At no time in the RFP review process or after was the committee informed that the selection process was complete until I received an email response from Dr. Mosier dated May 9th. I do not offer this letter of dissenting opinion lightly. I have committed my personal and professional path to speak for those who are most vulnerable and unable to speak for themselves. Therefore, I speak now for families and young children of this community, including faculty, staff, and students. I agree with Dr. Mosier in that we are not in the business of childcare. We are, however, first and foremost, an integrated community service committed to supporting those who seek to better their lives for themselves and their family through education. A recent blog post offered by Dr. Mosier states, "Colleges are businesses hidden in the mystique of academics." My education, training, and experience inform me to state my disagreement unequivocally. I am committed to the ideals of higher education and will continue to do so while advocating colleges are communities, embracing the value of academics while committed to fiscal responsibility. As previously mentioned, words matter, and in this case, perhaps even more so when they offer a glimpse into our motivations and worldview impacting crucial decisions. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Anyone else? Question?
I got a question for you. I'm not quite clear.
Yes, sir?
You mentioned that, and thank you for coming forward with your, with your remarks.
Okay.
But you mentioned that, you weren't in agreement with the process of the vendor. And then I'm kind of lost as to what you're actually trying to say as far as what your other concerns are.
I believe the selection of vendor is inappropriate. I don't believe that will change. The process did not take into consideration a number of factors about the community. There are currently child care centers in this area that have open rooms and available spaces for children because they cannot find qualified staff. There is an assumption that having a child care center on campus will magically bring those persons forward. That's not likely. I disagree also with bringing in a Johnson County vendor to this community on levels. I'm not from the county, but I have heard so many conversations around childcare in this area. I believe that we need an integrated service on this campus that pays respect to the county, that uses monies set for this county in a responsible manner. I have a difficult time, as I spoke in meetings, of bringing forward a for-profit to campus to provide childcare. There are a number of issues along those lines. My overall concern is that this was not a shared, the decision was made without even visiting the center. That doesn't happen in my world. And yes, when I speak of my world, I mean the care and education of children and speaking for families. Does that answer your question, sir?
Somewhat. I'm still kind of, I get the fact that you were in disagreement with the RFP process and the vendor, but is there anything else? Because you had a long 3-page dissertation, and I'm just saying.
If I could have my magic wand, it would be an integrated service with the services on this campus, with including the early childhood education program being the lead of that, if I had my magic wand, and putting money towards having an on-site lab program, which I understand was not determined to be financially acceptable.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Did you have a question? So I want to make sure that I'm clear. First of all, Dr. Plunkett, thank you for your statements here. I appreciate it. Just wanted to make sure I'm clear on what you're seeking today. I mean, other than to be heard, obviously, and to express your views on this. What are you specifically seeking, or what outcomes are you seeking via this meeting?
Specifically, I would request that the administration understand that faculty on this campus are the experts in the areas that they have sought to be experts in, and that we have shared governance and decision-making. Being at the table is not indicative of shared governance.
Okay, so
just because I sit at the table does not mean I've shared in that conversation or decision.
Okay, thank you. I understand. What I heard was that you wanted to be heard, if you will, or to express your views.
Yes.
As opposed to some type of decision being rendered via the board process today. Is that accurate? Or?
My understanding is that the letter of intent pretty much locks in the direction we're going, and I will work with whoever is in this community. That is not a problem. Okay. I will not, however, place my students in centers where I have to tell them what you see happening, don't do that. And I have to tell them what you see happening, don't do that. And the highly academic nature of the program that we visited will ensure that I will not place my students there for their field-based experiences. And I've made that very clear in every meeting. The only thing I'm seeking here is hopefully to continue to push that we want shared governance on this campus. And this process was not a piece of shared governance.
In your opinion?
In my opinion.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate you.
I got one last question for you.
Yes, sir.
You're saying that you don't like the RFP process, the request for proposal, and you have issue with that. You have issue with the vendor, and you are talking about shared governance. Is there anything, when as an RFP, I'm sure you're fully aware of how the process works.
I was a part of the process, yes.
Is there anything that you have to substantiate which you're kind of, in my opinion, saying that the programming and that there's something about the early childhood education potential on this campus might not suit the needs of children and students and?
I'm happy to bring forward, as I offered in the references, what young children need to be academically ready for kindergarten and to succeed through high school are child-led activities, child interest-based activities, the push down of curriculum and of highly academic. While children may enter kindergarten as ready, research bears out those gains will not sustain past third grade. Children need the opportunity to take risk, to play, to have uninterrupted time, and have quality relationships with their caregivers. The center that I visited is, as their website indicates, highly academic, beginning with 1-year-olds. There is nothing developmentally appropriate in that approach. I understand why 2 reading teachers believe that, but it will not serve our students and it won't serve our young children.
Has there been an announcement on who's been awarded the RFP?
My understanding is until the contract is completed, that would not occur.
So you're basing your opinion on what?
My understanding is that letter of intent has been awarded. Contract negotiations, I believe, are occurring, and that announcement would come once those contract negotiations were completed. Now, if I have missed a step, happy days.
Well, it's just concerning to me that you've raised concerns without any public announcement on who's been awarded and without the child care potential even being finalized and approved by this board as far as looking at, I'm sure, all the intricacies of what that's going to entail as far as the curriculum, staffing, costs and all those. I'm still kind of at a loss as to, what your concern is. The only concern I can pick up on is that you didn't like the RFP process, you don't like whoever the potential vendor is, and you have a problem with shared governance. Is that correct? Is that in line with your current concerns at this point?
I think my overarching concern at the moment is that, are you aware that a letter of intent is, that contract negotiations, my understanding is that those are in place?
Yes.
Okay. So if we move forward with that entity, then yes, you are correct. Having a letter of intent, having a vendor chosen simply by an RFP response, while that may be done on very basic service levels, it is not done in early childhood programs, and yet it is. Yes, my concern is that there is not shared governance in this. I spoke to my concerns to Mr. Beach, to the president, and those concerns have not been taken, I do not believe, seriously. And it's not an issue of not liking. I have professional concerns about the choice.
Well, I'm sure if the child care center ever comes to fruition, I'm sure that this board, as well as our administration, and I'm sure yourself, as community members, will evaluate the success and performance or lack thereof of whoever this vendor is, and it can be evaluated at that time. I personally just think it's kind of premature when nothing's been established or finalized in that regard. But I do thank you for raising your concerns on the 3 issues that stood out to me, and you having the courage to come forth and express those to us. So thank you.
Thank you for your questions.
And what you're telling us is that with your knowledge in childcare, that you are an expert, and we should be listening to what you have to say. Maybe it's not that you're trying to control the whole process, but I do appreciate, as an expert, that you are commenting, telling us what will work and what won't work, and we need to listen to our experts. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Quick question, and not to belabor the process, but I just want to make sure that I'm clear, because I heard several concerns today, and we certainly appreciate those, Dr. Plunkett. If you would, could you give me, in your opinion, let's say that we did go forward with this particular provider. What are some, can you maybe name 4 or 5 things, just in your opinion, that would be negative aspects or negative outcomes that would impact the trajectory, if you will, of the young children's lives? I'm interested to kind of have an understanding of, what's the worst that could happen, in a professional opinion.
In a professional opinion, what the child care center, that particular provider provides in the area that they're currently located. Their child care center is situated in a multi-million-dollar home area. Those children have, by appearances, a wealth of resources. So a push down of curriculum isn't going to harm their school readiness. They have most of what we would want for children in terms of resources, working parents, income, language use, everything you could want. When you come to this area and we look at the needs of the children here, we have children who experience trauma, we have children who experience homelessness, food scarcity, and low health outcomes. For children experiencing adverse childhood events, such as those I've mentioned, to be school ready, you have to, 1, be confident in the risks you're taking. Are they willing to risk running across and jumping over a log? Are they willing to enter with materials they've never seen before? Those type of risk taking are what allow children to develop the ability to read, do math, enter science, because it takes risk taking. When you have a push down of curriculum, and in particular what that particular child care center does as far as explicit instruction in math, reading, and writing at a very, very young age. It is teacher directed, which does not allow children to develop the autonomy that they need to be successful in school. Children need to be able to make a plan and carry out a plan. To do that, they have to have the opportunity to make plans and carry out those plans. Teacher-directed programs do not allow that skill to develop. So when children enter kindergarten and they can give you rote answers to ABC, 1, 2, 3, that's a square, that's a triangle, those are discrete skills. And that I'm not discounting that those will be important, but more importantly, when they enter kindergarten, they need to be able to enter a relationship with another child. They need to have practiced moving from point A to point B successfully without an adult telling them how to do it and when to do it. They need to have opportunity to explore materials so that when I give them something they've never seen before, they don't go, oh, I can't touch that because I don't know what it does. Push-down curriculum, as I said, will make them look like they're kindergarten ready. Those gains do not hold. The skills that they need in third and fourth grade, that as most of you have experienced at some point, that third and fourth grade divide, when children, they're not reading at grade level, they become academically not engaged, that push down of that curriculum will reinforce that disengagement. Children have a natural innate desire to be curious and learn. Early childhood centers have to help facilitate that. And highly academic ones, highly structured ones, do not do that.
Understood. Was there any conversation, if you will, with the potential provider of specializing or what is the word I'm looking for? Adapting the, thank you.
Yes.
Adapting the curriculum in order to fit the student, the attendee population, if you will.
Somewhat. What I did is after the site visit, I talked to Mr. Beach, and he gave me good advice in saying, email them, talk to them, see what their response might be about their curriculum. I did that, and the response back was, what I asked was, would you be willing to consider an evidence-based curriculum? And the response back was, in effect, we would be happy to discuss that and look at that, but we want to make sure we do what we know works. An evidence-based curriculum is, if I have a certain set of characteristics of children, and I implement a curriculum for that particular set of children, then I can expect these outcomes. If I add to or take away from that, it ceases to become evidence-based, which, as I indicated when that response came back, I understand what they're trying to do. I really do. Part of my research was on literacy. I understand the belief that drives their program. It's misguided. It's not going to harm those children there. They have what they need to succeed in school. Our children don't. So while on the face, yes, they will, there's a lack of understanding what evidence-based curriculum in early childhood looks like.
I understand. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anyone else? All right. I'm sorry.
And I didn't grow in a big, well-resourced home. My mom and my whole family, they had to work for every dime they had. And so I believe that learning on campus and learning, going out for nature walks, possibly extracurricular events, expands the neurological system of the child. That's what I've been taught to do. I've been taught to learn through the physical interaction with nature. And what this has brought to me is, what this has brought to me is that when we grow up in a well-resourced home, we tend to not look at the things that we don't have, but the things that, well, take it back. We tend to look at the things that we do have instead of the things we don't. And we become self-centered sometimes, as you've seen in recent studies. We tend to dislodge the fact that family comes first. And when that happens, it can destroy families, and it can also destroy trust between social peers and campus peers. Me as a student here, they have worked with my IEP, and I have made some of the most greatest friends. And they don't care if I'm rich or not. They care about me as a human. And as I still stand to this day, I still fight for what is right. And what is right is not taking physical, social interaction from kids that are lesser or less knowledgeable about things, that are wanting to learn, that are wanting to strive. And if we start, we make the decisions that could affect a child's future. And people of the Board of Trustees, if you really think about each one of your kids, would you take away the experience of them making friends? Would you take away the experience of not giving them that ability to learn and continue that education of growth? Would you? Or would you stand and do what's right? Like, keep the interaction alive, keep the creativity alive, keep the enduring thought processes alive. And yeah, so.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We will take all of this into consideration, I'm sure.
And I would like to say, I was on the committee, and I noticed a real difference in the presentation of curriculum. And I have a PhD in curriculum and instruction. I am not aware of early childhood curriculum development, but I saw some issues there. And I'm certainly glad that you presented this tonight so that we can kind of be aware and reflect on where we are and where we're going. And most certainly, we would like your continued input into that. And I understand the curricular differences occur in different groups. And if this one that we're not looking at doesn't come around, please give us input into not only the process, but how the decision is implemented. Particularly, we want this to match up with what we're doing. I think Dr. Vietti said that before she left. I don't know if anyone remembers it, but she said we must keep in mind that that is a child education center, and as such needs to focus on, child care education with a match with our curriculum. So I think that's just something we need to be aware of and think about.
Thank you. All right. We will move on to recognitions and presentations. We have KCKCC debate team and coaches Darren Elliott and Scott Elliott. KCKCC debate swept all 3 debate events in a recent Phi Rho Pi national tournament. Is Mr. Elliott here?
Thank you. Got a couple of our students who are still in town and got them over here tonight. And Scott is our assistant director. So I'm going to go over the awards that they won at the national tournaments and then just give you a couple of other things to think about as we look forward in our program. So a number of national tournaments that we attended. I'll start with the first one we attended was the Pi Kappa Delta National Tournament, and this was in Long Island in New York, and this was the largest tournament in terms of number of schools that attended. 70 8 colleges and universities from all over the country were there, a number of community colleges, a number of 4-year universities. And one of our students that's not here tonight, they were not feeling well, whose name is Never. You've probably seen in publications or in press releases, Never Rose. It's just like it sounds, Never Rose. Was the only community college student to make it to the top 8 of that national tournament. And so we had a top 8 finalist at that national tournament. Then we went to the community college tournament. Then we went to the community college nationals, which was held in Reno, Nevada, and this is just for community colleges. There were about 60 community colleges there from all over the country, and there are 3 different debate events. And typically, every year, we do pretty well in one of those debate events at least. And this is the first year, and we've won a number of national titles in debate prior to this, but this was the first year that we won a gold award in all 3 debate events, which was an amazing accomplishment for these students. In parliamentary debate, Royal Sullivan, who is a graduate of Sumner Academy, competed with Never, that's a team debate competition, where they took first in that competition. Then in international parliamentary debate, which is a one-on-one competition where the topic changes every round, you have to be well-versed in a lot of topics and know a lot about what's going on in the world. Royal took first in that event. And then in NFA Lincoln Douglas debate, which is a one-on-one competition that's based on the same topic over the course of the year, Never actually took first in that competition. And so we had great results in all 3 of those events. In addition, in that Lincoln Douglas debate event, Royal took third, and then Never was the top speaker of the whole tournament in NFA Lincoln Douglas debate, and we were the top debate program overall of community colleges, and took second overall combining debate and forensics and speech events because of how well we did with debate. We also won a number of fellowship awards at the national tournament. So 9 students across the country receive a fellowship award out of this tournament. It's about 360 students there. And Royal was one of the 9 students, and this is voted on by the competitors. They rank the competitors about who they thought best represented all the qualities of competition at the national tournament. And Royal won one of those. And then we also won a fellowship award for one of our alumni who was there with us as an assistant coach, David Bowers. Again, there's 9 of those given out across the country. David received one of the coaching fellowship awards. Scott is a past recipient of that award. And then Joaquin, you all know Joaquin Mariscal, who is a graduate of Lawrence High School. Because Joaquin is here beyond the community college competition years you can have at the community college nationals. Joaquin actually went with this tournament to the tournament with us to help run the national tournament. So one of the worst jobs of the national tournament is there's a room where you get stuck in all day if you're working in that room, and you tabulate all of the results, the ballots, you make sure all the ballots get in the right packets, that everybody gets their stuff at the end of the tournament. And it's a process where if one mistake happens, it can significantly change the outcome of things. And so there's a process where coaches then go in and review, and it's a pretty lengthy process. And so the gentleman that runs that room is a coach from California, and he always needs about 4 or 5 students. And so Joaquin went. Joaquin received a fellowship award, a service award for that part of the national tournament. And Hal, to this day, continues to message me and say, that's the best student I've ever worked with. It's the most paid attention to detail more than anyone else, and they really loved having Joaquin. And now I think it's kind of one of those things, they're going to expect him to come back even after he's no longer at a community college and possibly work at that tournament. Then we concluded our nationals run with the NFA, the National Forensics Association Nationals, which was in Southern California in Santa Ana. And you have to qualify to that national tournament. Never had qualified to that national tournament. It started with 120 students, and when they went to elimination rounds, the top 30 students, Never was one of only 3 community college students to make it into that top 30. Lost a close first elimination round on a 2-1 decision to the University of Nebraska at Lincoln, but had an amazing tournament and amazing success at that tournament. So some of the awards they received, they'll show you here. You can actually pass them down. They can look at them. Give those Trustee Ash. So there's the awards that we won with the gold awards are their awards they won for the debate events, and then the sweepstakes awards are there. And one other thing, and I'm going to have to find this in my phone if you'll give me just a second. So when we were in Santa Ana, like I said, that concluded our nationals trip for the year. By that time, hundreds and hundreds, thousands of hours on the road over the course of a year. Too many hotel rooms, too many fast food restaurants. And usually by that time of the year, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I'm ready to be done. I've got to tell you, the opportunity for the students and for us to attend that national tournament was probably one of the best things that could have happened, because I left that tournament so excited again about the possibilities that our program could do in terms of not just competition, but in terms of what we can do in our community. And I've already kind of started to have a conversation briefly with Dr. Mosier about this, and plan to have more conversations with him and Dr. Krieger about this, because it really kind of wraps our academic mission into our outreach to the community. But one of the things that really struck me about this particular community and this tournament is the tournament was held by the Santa Ana School District. And the superintendent of the school district is a man by the name of Sal Tinajero. And at the opening assembly, he talked about, and this was a great, the high school, Santa Ana High School is about 93% Hispanic. It's a performing arts school. It's in a great little community. When we showed up, they had the high school the mariachi band playing. Not a marching band, they had a mariachi band playing for us when we showed up, which was really neat. But there are some things that he said that really got me excited about what debate does and what it can do for our community. They talked about in their school district that when, not to be too political, but when our current president was elected to the United States, that a lot of their students stopped going to school and factory store because they were scared about what might happen to them given the nature of the community and how high a percentage population of the Hispanic community is. And the superintendent, along with one of the California state legislatures, are the ones who really pushed to make Santa Ana the first sanctuary city, but also the state of California a sanctuary state. And he said it immediately changed the dynamic of not only people going back to the grocery stores, students going back to schools, but the relationships between business owners and the local police, and business owners and the local law community, and the nature of what it looked like for their students. And he talked about how their school district committed resources to making sure that debate and speech is something that is infused across the curriculum and is mandatory at all of the high schools in that district. And he gave some interesting numbers. He said that 90% of their students are at the poverty line, and they went from, when he took over as superintendent, 1,000 suspensions a year to 0 suspensions now, because they find the students the resources they need in the school district. They partner with local colleges to help do that. And they have a Hispanic population rate of 92%, a poverty rate of 90%, but now a graduation rate of 94%. And he attributes a lot of that to what they've done. And he talked about how debate in particular helps students increase their vocabulary, helps get them out of poverty. They've created programs with, like I said, local law enforcement. A good friend of mine who is a retired coach from California, his daughter is actually the district attorney for Santa Ana, and her husband is one of the district court judges, and what they've done to help integrate debate and what it's doing in their communities. And so everything he was talking about was so exciting, and I thought, they're doing this and it's helping these students, and I thought, there's a beach 5 minutes away. Not the beach and the ocean, obviously, we couldn't do that. But a lot of those concepts and a lot of the ideas that they're talking about, and I really think that's one of the next places our program needs to go in terms of reaching out to the high schools and the middle schools and reinvigorating the program we have. We have a strong program at Sumner Academy. In fact, Royal helps coach there, and they won the state forensics tournament just a couple weeks ago, right? And so, which is great. But a lot of other schools in USC 500 really need to return to those kind of academic programs. And so one of my goals is to make sure we have, you can come up and talk in a second. Okay. One of my goals then is to make sure that we begin to have that outreach into those high schools and into that community, and that we do what we can to create the personnel to make that happen. But it's especially important, I think, and as we're talking about increasing populations from traditionally underserved students, debate and speech is a great way to do it, and I think that we have we've always had great support from the board all the way down, and I certainly don't expect that to change, but I do know that we've got to kind of pick up and really start to move these ideas into practice. And so I came back from that tournament in particular very excited about those opportunities and what we might be able to do in our local community. And I hope we can continue to move those conversations forward. Do you have something to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that one of the people that's not here, Never Rose, so she competed and was extremely successful. I'm sorry, they competed and they were extremely successful at the Community College Nationals, and was not at the award ceremony because they had to catch a flight to fly all the way back to the East Coast to help coach and judge for the Urban Debate League in Kansas City at their national championship, then hopped a flight to fly all the way back to California to compete for us at NFA Nationals. That shows the level of commitment that these students have to the area, the urban area debate programs that we have there, and I just wanted to make sure there wasn't an oversight on that. That was a marathon of 2.5, 3 week marathon that never went through and was successful at all levels of it.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that, because the commitment that our students make to these programs already is huge. Going out and helping at the high schools and judging and coaching at their alma maters, and what Never is doing with the Urban Debate League and coaching area middle schools in KCK. And so they do put in a ton of work, but it's also, you know, it pays off competitively, but now we want it to begin to pay off in terms of what we can do, again, to help increase access for students in our community who maybe don't have the access that they need right now. And so I appreciate you listening to me talk about all that. I don't know if either of the students have anything to say or if you have questions, but I'd be happy to hear that. But again, thank you for all of the continued support, and we especially are thankful for the opportunities that our students get, but then opportunities for us coaches too, who, like I said, are kind of old and tired, and that kind of stuff helps reinvigorate us. So it's important, and that's good because it gives us something we can look forward to as we're moving forward. So do you guys have anything you want to say?
They're debaters and they don't have anything to say.
Right, exactly. You know Joaquin has something to say.
Hello, good evening, everybody. My name is Joaquin. Something I would like to point out about how great the debate program here is at KCK is last year was the first year I learned how to do debate. And I got a bronze award at the FIRO-PI national tournament. So that just shows you that with such little amount of time, I was able to learn how to debate thanks to both Darren and Scott. They have been fantastic faculty and fantastic coaches. And I think any idea that they have when it comes to reaching out and making sure that we can expand our cooperation with the Urban Debate League, with high schools around the area to be able to incorporate extracurricular activities such as debate into a more cohesive program, I think is fantastic. I'm just very thankful to have come to KCK and debate for them.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Congratulations to both of you.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Any questions or anything else? All right. Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Next is KCKCC Music and Audio Engineering Program. John Stanford, Associate Professor of Music and Director of the Standard and Students. Is he here? Oh. Well, when they get here, we'll go back to them. Okay? Oh, perfect timing.
That was perfect timing. Excellent. Make your grand
Or a mini concert.
You want me to introduce you? No, I'm just teasing.
Hi, how are you?
All right.
Let's see here. My name's John Stafford. I'm Associate Professor of Music and Director of Choirs at the college. And we've been fortunate enough for the past 3 years to receive some national awards from Downbeat Magazine. To explain, Downbeat Magazine began being published in the late 30s. It's the premier jazz publication in the country, based out of Chicago. And so for the past 42 years, they have developed Student Music Awards, which is the highest level award you can get as a student jazz musician for middle school, high school, collegiate, and graduate level. And so the last 3 years, our students have won a total of 8 Downbeat Awards in the last 3 years.
Wow.
This year, winning 5. The categories include for winning My Vocal Jazz Ensemble, winning for Outstanding Ensemble, and Outstanding Blues Pop Rock Ensemble, because we do a mix of all variety of popular music. And also, let's see, we receive awards in audio engineering. So of those 8 awards, 3 of those awards are for both live sound reinforcement and for studio recording. Also, we received 1 soloist award. We received a small jazz ensemble award. So the awards are kind of varied between vocal and instrumental and audio. So myself, Ian Corbett, Jim Mayer, and Justin Bennick, we're just proud of all of our students. And it's just a lot of work. Actually, what we're rushing from, we record vocal jazz, we record them during the finals week, May, every year. And so we just finished our last recording session just right now. That will be used to apply for Downbeat next year.
Right.
So that's where we're rushing from. So that's pretty ironic. We brought, this is Brady Rose, this is a 2018 audio engineering graduate, but he recorded the groups last year, so that counted for Downbeat this year. And so I was just gonna have both of them speak. The other student is Adam Bender, who's a student with us this year, that received a new job in town, a new music position in town. And so Brady, last year, the album that we currently have, Brady recorded the album, and Adam currently sings on the album that we have right now. So these are 2 former standard members, and I'm gonna have them speak to you just briefly. Go ahead.
Yeah, as he introduced me, I'm Brady. I used to sing, I'm a 2018 graduate of KCK.
Wow.
And I graduated in audio engineering. And so I mixed the album that we did. If you get a chance, you should listen to it. It's a selfless plug, shameless plug. So I graduated last year and received information on the Downbeats a couple months ago. It's a little bit before we can like formally announce it. So I got to use all that to go towards, I applied at a couple different places around Kansas City to work either in production or to work in studios. And I just got a job at Harvest Productions, which is this fairly big production company up in North KC. So it provided a ton of opportunity for me. What is that? You know, what's this national award? So I got to kind of brag up the school and be like, oh yeah, we got, what is it, 8 now? 8, which is crazy. There's a lot of schools that have 0, so.
All right.
Yeah, just so many opportunities here with the choir. I did it for, I think I was in the choir for 4 years. I drug out as many credits as I could so I could stay there. And then I've somehow convinced him to bring me on and help do sound gigs here and there now that I've graduated. And yeah, I can't say anything other than
Well, thank you.
it's a great
Keep
program.
coming.
Hey, if I'm not working the shows, I'll be watching them, so
All right.
don't worry.
Thank you so much.
My name is Adam Bender, and this is my 3rd and final year at KCK. And through this program, I've been able to work out, not just with Stafford, but all the members of the the music department. I started an apprenticeship at a musical instrument repair company in town, BAC Music, and they were flexible enough to let me do that, and it's helped me now. I'm full-time there, so it's helped me get into my career, and the opportunities that we had far outnumber anything I think any other undergraduate program could offer. I did a semester at KU, and at 4-year schools like that, all the opportunities go to the graduate level players or all, musicians that have been there for longer. But with my first year here, we traveled the country, and we've been to New Orleans, Chicago, Dallas, Reno, just to name a few, and some multiple times, and it's just been phenomenal. And extremely educating and helpful for me in my career. So I can't stop singing the school praises as far as that goes.
Keep singing them.
I'll try.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us. So thank you so much, and thank you for your support. Really
Thank
appreciate it. Thank you very much. So
Congratulations.
thank you.
All right. Student Senate transition from current officers swearing in of 2019, 2020 officers.
Well, good evening, everybody. How are you all?
Good evening.
Good. Well, I just want to say, and I know Trustee Sutton knows this moment well, and is, man, what an opportunity that I had to be with these students.
It's hard to let them go.
It is very hard. It's like my kiddos just left this last year, and I'm just, they were mine away from home. And it's just, my heart's just pounding right now because I truly care about them, and I got to see them grow in so many ways. And all the faculty and administration here on this campus got to help them do that. And that was just amazing. You all had that. They had that in their life, and they're walking away with skills and relationships and things that they would have probably been able to do, all because they decided to step out and take a risk and do something different. And so I just want to say I am so proud of all of you guys and ladies for your hard work, your frustration, your joys, your everything. The messes that they wouldn't clean up, you know, gravy that sat in a thing for like 2 weeks, molded and smelled, but they cleaned it, you know, one of our senators cleaned it. I mean, it was just, you know, the things that they do. Anyway, so I'm grateful, and many of them are graduating this year, many of them. And so we've got a new set, and I'm so excited because again, it's another opportunity for learning, but when you meet some of them, you're gonna be like, wait till the end of next year, and you're gonna see how they're gonna excel. So thank you for speaking into their lives. Thank you, everyone here, faculty, administration, deans, all of them, for speaking into their lives, because it doesn't come from me. It comes from a team, and the team made it happen. So anyway, so without further ado, Aaliyah, the 2018-19 Student Senate Executive Team, would you please come forward? This is this year's team.
Who is that lady?
I know. Y'all gonna get enough of me after this week. So yeah, my name is Aaliyah Shaw. Hopefully you all know by now. And I am the current Student Senate President, soon to be former. And I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to you all. You all were such a big part of this journey, besides the fact that I had to see you each month, but seriously, just being there and understanding where you're coming from, your perspective, how much I got to interact with you all both on and off campus. And I appreciated that time, and I appreciated getting to know you all in that way, and also learning from you and seeing how you interact up here and seeing how you both are talking to our community members, the people within the internal community here at our school. It's all so important, and it's something that I will take with me as I transition. And Ms. Hendrika wanted us to say where we're going next. So I'll be going to the University of Missouri, Kansas City, or UMKC, so not too far. So I'll definitely be back. Can't get rid of me. But thank you all so much.
Great, thank you.
Hello, I'm the Vice President of Student Senate, and I just want to say thank you all for just what you have given to me, what KCK has given to me, all the activities I could get involved in, all the projects I was involved in, and one day I will come back and give back to this community. And I'm going to Avila University next for nursing, so yeah.
Good, all right.
Hey again, it's me. My name is Joaquin, as I've previously stated. I'm the Student Senate parliamentarian, and I feel like both Aaliyah and Itzel said a lot of what I felt grateful for. But to keep it brief, I'm very thankful to have gone to KCKCC. It is a fantastic school that has really helped me mature and grow as a person. And I'm just so thankful to have been able to meet both Itzel and Aaliyah and Miss Andrika and really everyone that I have been able to interact with here at KCK. So thank you so much. And my college I'll be going to is I'll be transferring to, after I graduate, I will be continuing my bachelor's at Indiana University, Purdue University, Indianapolis at IUPUI or UIPUI. I'll be getting a degree in theater and hopefully minoring in political science as well. So thank you so much.
Great, congratulations. All right.
Told you, I'm back. Okay, so there are a lot of eager students that are in the new administration that really want to see you all. So I do want to give a chance to introduce the new Student Senate President, if he wants to come up and introduce himself.
How are you guys?
Fine.
Man, I remember last time I was sitting here in front of you guys, I said that I was planning on running for president, and yeah, look at me now.
You did
It's
it.
kind of crazy.
All right. Good job.
But oh, man, this is exciting. It's kind of scary. I'm feeling a lot of different emotions right now. Excitement, you know, a little scared, but I'm looking forward to it. Right, I'm looking into the new year that's coming, and into sharing new experiences with the new Senate team, which they're sitting right here. And if I could just introduce them real quick. So the new vice president, it will be Dustin Williams. He's not here today though, but Paola Flores, she is going to be the new secretary. Jordan Thankston, I butchered that, I'm sorry. But she's going to be the parliamentarian. Juan Bautista is going to be activities coordinator, which he's sitting right here. Also, Nadia Valencillo, she's going to be treasurer right there. And Daniel Zacapa, he's going to be chief information officer. And for senators, we have Paul Sellery and Jonathan Brouillon. Paul is sitting right here.
All right.
Yeah. But this is great. I remember walking in for semester. I thought I was just going to be, a regular student, just come to class, go home, do my homework and things like that. But it was pretty much overnight when I started getting involved with Student Senate, and I just want to say that it's been amazing. The experiences and the people that I've gotten to meet, I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. And I'm looking into making Miss Andrika proud and making my parents over there proud, and to just represent the students of KCKCC the way that they deserve to be represented. So yeah, I just want to say thank you, and I'm very excited.
Look forward to seeing you every month.
Yeah, thank you.
Look forward to seeing you every month.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, Dr. Mojer,
Yes.
next fall, I'll be seeing you in the dunk tank during the dash.
Right? I'll be seeing you sitting in my office. So, very good. So congratulations to our Student Senate who is exiting us and going on to greater things, and I look forward to hearing more about your future. It's my opportunity now to get to swear in the new officers. So if I can have the new officers please stand. Yeah. Okay, very good. And if you would please repeat after me, and then when we get to the place that says their duties and responsibilities, please state your position. Okay? Say, I state your name. Hereby affirm that I will faithfully serve the students of Kansas City, Kansas Community College, act in accordance with the Student Senate Constitution, exemplify school spirit, and fulfill all duties and responsibilities as in your position, yeah? Okay. Of the Student Senate. I will to the best of my ability, strive to achieve the highest level of expectation that accompanies this position of the Student Senate of Kansas City, Kansas Community College. Very good. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Congratulations. All right. Now we will have board committee reports. Do we have any committee reports today?
Chairman Brown, before that, I'd like to point out, we've really seen some outstanding students here tonight, but I keep wanting to remind everybody that happens because we have really good teachers and administrators and staff on this campus. So I wish I'd done this when John was still here, but Enrica and Darren and Scott and John and all of you who provide those kind of opportunities, learning opportunities, experience opportunities to our student body. This is just a small example of what happens on this campus every day. So thank you, faculty and staff and administration, for what you do on this campus. Thank you.
Thank you. Any committee reports?
Yes, Madam Chair. The Finance Committee met on May 14th, and just some highlights, and I'm sure that our CFO will talk about some things in more detail. But what's about the nursing simulation lab, we approved to forward for full board approval to replace the equipment in the nursing lab, which had been outdated and not functioning, which would be a good plus to our administration and, more importantly, our students, the equipment that they need, as well as an update on the child care facility, where we're at. I don't know if during the president's report he'll speak to that. So, and then just overall, just the financial health of the college, and just as the committee chair, that as of now, as has been ongoing, the financial health of the college is sound. So, and that's something that our president, our CFO, and more importantly, our student staff and this community, our taxpayers, should be proud of, that we got good stewards of the financials here at Kansas Community College. So we are in good standing.
Thank you. Any questions? You wanna wait?
Well, the Personnel Committee did meet. We had those 14 policies that we reviewed, and we're going to cover those later in the meeting.
Don?
Nothing to report.
All right. Thank you very much. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
One second, please. I'm sorry. I had a real quick question about, looks like item D, personnel items on the consent agenda.
Mm-hmm.
If you look on, in the presentation, it is on page 12, and it's the second from the bottom. In the action column, I see that the majority of these items are stating resignation, and then there's one here that states separation, and I was just seeking clarification as to what that means. I was thinking maybe it's of absence, but I wasn't quite sure, and I just wanted to get some clarification on what the difference or distinction between resignation and separation are.
When we refer to separation, it's a termination of employment.
I see. Okay.
Does that answer?
Yes, yes. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was moved. Did I get a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we would approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much. Now we will have a report from Student Senate, the past president, Miss Aaliyah Shaw. She's talking and she didn't know she's coming up front. Can you believe this is your last time?
I know. Wow. It felt long, but it went by fast. Wow. Oh my goodness. Okay. So I actually have my notes on my phone, so I promise I'm not looking up anything or any photos of the car that got through the Wellness and Fitness Center. Okay, so I know I have a whole story about how I found out. Okay, we'll talk about that later. Let's get started. So the structure for today is just going to be like thank yous and talking about some of the events we've had within the last few weeks, and then sort of talking about what's been going on actually this week too, because we still have things going on. Wow, students always active, right? Okay, so to talk about a little bit of like student success in regards to like student activities, specifically in Student Senate, I think this year was very, very successful and pioneering a lot of new things. I was able to be a part of a lot of things that I hadn't done before, especially on this campus specifically. And we were able to start things like student scholarship funds. We were able to get a part of the campus beautification initiative. We were able to do a lot of great things for our students that sort of didn't stop here with this administration, right? It also provides things for other students, such as like the scholarship fund. We were able to raise $600 in the fall semester for student scholarships, and so we want to continue things like that, continue making our spaces better. I know during the summer we're going to be updating our game room, which is right across from the bookstore, so just consistently thinking about updating student spaces and also things that make the student experience a little bit better. And so within that too, we're also thinking of creating more initiatives catered to that. And one thing Ms. Andrika had brought up to me is changing the rhetoric of like events to co-curricular activities, because what we've noticed is that there's always some sort of learning or engagement every time we host events here. For example, we have things on like DACA misconceptions for DACA students specifically. We learn about different communities and different cultures across the world. We also learn about our own community here, and so a lot of that is so important, and a lot of that knowledge we want to nurture, and so changing the rhetoric a little bit adds that value. And so one of the initiatives that are going to happen probably in the fall, upcoming fall, is including more of that co-curricular activities within like actual like academia for like students and like faculty to get more involved in that, maybe if they can or want to be more inclusive in that, because that's actually how I got started, was through my professor showing me the Intercultural Center and having an event there. And so just things like that and changing that rhetoric to really encourage more engagement from the students, to sort of think about other things happening in and out of the community while participating in school. And so other things that have happened recently was the end of the school year bash. We had about 300 plus students participate in that. Even though the weather was bad, we had it indoors, and so we still had a lot of great participation. I know faculty, staff, and admin, they were able to come, and so that's always really, really nice to have that engagement and see students interact with everything we do, because we put a lot into those events, right? And so it was nice to just have that one last event and see how much participation there was there. And to talk about the events happening this week, it's the final 4 days, which are catered specifically to graduates. We have things such as, the graduation bingo. We had that recently, which is yesterday. Today we had the sort of like job fair. Tomorrow we'll have the graduate pampering day with jewelry, nails, facials, and they'll also be doing cap decorating too. And then on Thursday, of course, we'll have the breakfast and the actual graduation. So that's really, really exciting. So we're still doing a lot of things to really help and aid our students as they're graduating. And so also, I found out I was gonna be speaking at both graduations. So if you see me at the 2 o'clock and I'm not as good at the 7, just act like I just spoke at the 7, Okay. So, yeah. Yes. Okay, so yeah, just to talk a little bit more about what that'll look like too, we're also going to be doing a few things this summer with our executive team, as a lot of our new members too, which is our Student Senate retreat, where we go over the Constitution, look at creating new the rhetoric of our policies, and also looking at what we can improve on with that. We change a lot during the summer. I think a lot of people don't know, but we do change quite a bit within the Constitution every time we go there. And so we're always looking at improving or changing the way in which we use our language, or just trying to be more inclusive always. And so that's a big component of that. And as we think about like adding co-curricular transcripts, just making sure we look at our learning outcomes for students. and incorporate that with whatever the leadership team does. And so that's something we're going to be doing too this summer, which is really exciting for our leadership team to experience. And so just to talk about a few other events that have happened recently, we had, of course, our Student Senate elections, which is May 1st to May 2nd, and we had about 185 students vote altogether with that. And what was so exciting about that is that we had a Google form for the first time. It was electronic. It was very like trial and error, but it worked out pretty perfectly. They just, took up their computer lab so we can sort of control the way in which the voting was happening, and it was very effective. And so we had a great amount of participation. The candidates all participated very, very well, and it was nice to see that engagement. So always evolving in that regard. And other things the other clubs have been doing, recently the audio engineering, which was on May 2nd, I believe, hosted a student showcase, which is really, really great. In May, the Students for Global Peace and Ralph Bunche Society hosted a transitional justice simulation, and we also had students that are here actually, that are part of Enactus, that attended an annual student conference back in May. We also had a lot of great things with students of Latinos or Latinx. They hosted the Cinco de Mayo celebration in May. Therapy Club also had a graduation celebration. OQS Diversity Club had their lavender graduation for the students that were leaving, and they also every spring semester have a ally appreciation gift for faculty and staff. And so even when it's like finals week and like students are busy, probably not on campus as much or very like focused, the clubs are still doing a lot to include the students here, and student activities really want to keep that engagement up. So that's really great to see, and I was able to participate in a lot of that while still focusing on my schoolwork and my finals during that time too. So that was great to see that we had so much participation within the last month. And yeah, so the last thing that we're going to be talking about is sort of just Student Senate overall and the direction in which they're going. And so one of the biggest goals we have right now is just to increase our student participation from the general populace. And so that means just sort of like anyone that's like on campus, not necessarily the students that are part of a club or students that are joining a club, the students that are just coming on campus when they need to, non-traditional students, nighttime students. We want to be more inclusive to them too. And so that's definitely a goal as we like transition. So yeah, that's all I have for you all today. I'll see you very, very soon. I do want to thank you all so much again. These last 2 years have been such an immense amount of growth for me, and I was able to travel with some of you. I was able to learn. I was able to swap places. Dr. Mosher was trying to steal my identity. I don't know,
Still trying.
Still trying. I know. Well, you have better credit than me. Stop. And so, yes, so thank you all so much. It's been amazing to learn from you and also grow, and I appreciate the time I've been here. So thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you. We expect to see you back here.
Yes, of course, yeah. Okay, thanks.
All right.
Oh, wait, any questions? Sorry, I always forget to ask that. Okay.
All right, can we have a motion to accept the Student Senate report?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept your report. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? If anybody opposes, you'll have to stay up here.
All right.
Thank you. Motion carried.
Thank you.
All right. Now, we will have our president's report.
Very good, and thank you, President Shaw, as I'll say for about the last time. That's great. No, you've done a wonderful job, the full Senate, and really looking forward to working with the new Student Senate as well. So it's an exciting time, this transition. So, so we are wrapping up the semester and the academic year, and what a great year it really has been. So when you look at the presentations tonight with our debate team and our music and the audio engineering program winning national awards, when we look at our women's basketball team winning the national championship, and you look at the activities that our Student Senate has participated in, and you get to listen and hear about the growth that they've had, that's why we're here. So it's a very exciting time, and just very glad to be a part of it. So as mentioned, we are in the process of moving forward with the opening of the child care facility. I do want to reconfirm at this time that we are still in the silent and the confidential part of this process. So out of respect for all involved, I'll have no further comment than that, but it is moving forward. But right now, it's all about graduation. So in the spirit of graduation, I have the very fortunate opportunity to attend several graduation receptions and dinners and all of that. So in the last 2 weeks ago, we had a really special event on campus, and that was our Veterans Graduation Dinner. It was wonderful to get together with the veterans and their families and celebrate with them. I think we had about 45 participate in that, and that was the first time it's been offered. We have the new Veterans Service Center downstairs, which is wonderfully helping our veterans and their family members. I think we have helped over 1,200, I don't know, Dr. Terry, is that about right? Yeah, 1,200 veterans and their families since it opened in October, which is amazing. Last week, we had the TRIO, the Student Support Services graduation reception as well, and how touching that ceremony is, and the hard work that everyone has done to make it to graduation. It's just a pleasure to be a part of. The theme was, ain't no stopping us now, and ain't that true? So you all are going to do very, very well. Proud of you. And then just last night, had the opportunity to go to the graduation reception at the Pioneer Career Center. It too was the first time that the Pioneer Career Center has held a reception, which was wonderful. It was pouring down rain, but everyone had a good time and arrived and went home safe. So that was neat to be a part of. And these activities continue. So tonight, actually, as we're currently speaking, the respiratory therapy pinning ceremony is taking place at Providence Hospital. And at 7:30 tonight is the physical therapy assistant pinning ceremony over at our Technical Education Center. Tomorrow at 8 p.m., we have the pinning ceremonies, both for our licensed practical nurse program and our associate degree registered nurse program, and that's in the field house. So I invite everyone to attend whatever events they can. And then, of course, on Thursday, we have our KCKCC commencement ceremony. As President Shaw mentioned, I said it one more time. 2 o'clock, we have the commencement for our Associate of Applied Science and our certificate students. And then at 2 o'clock, our Associate of Arts, Associate of Science, and Associate of General Studies students and our candidates for graduation. So please try and attend. It's a wonderful time to celebrate their success and the hard work that they've put in to graduate with us, and we're excited to honor them this evening. And then with that, I'd like to take some time and turn it over to our new foundation director, Miss Mary Spangler, to share some of the great things happening in the foundation.
Good evening. Thank you, Dr. Mosier. Just a few quick updates from our foundation team. Our Hall of Fame event was held on April 27th. We raised $115,000, which is a nice 39% increase over last year. So thanks to all of you for your support and your participation and attendance. Coming up on June 6th, and I'll have another invitation for you here in a minute, we will host the Summer Scholarship Social, and we'll recognize all of our student scholarship recipients, plus benefactors will be invited as well. So if you can join us for that event, it will be right here in the Upper Jewel Center at 10 o'clock on Thursday, June 6th. So you're all welcome, and we would love to see you there. Another activity that we've been undertaking relates to our internal giving program, what we call our Family Fund. And we had an ice cream social on May 7th, and a special thanks and a shout out to our cabinet members who all took shifts to scoop ice cream. And the results were good. We have almost a fourth of our employees giving to the foundation through the Family Fund. So we're making progress there, and we're grateful for that support as well. The other important activity, we're working to establish some relationships with some local funders, and we have some requests in the pipeline to asking for help with our Kids on Campus, the Wyandotte High School Downtown Campus Initiative, some support for our veterans programming, and also continued support for our scholarships. So we have some important requests that are in the pipeline, and we're hoping for good outcomes there. I've learned in fundraising you have to ask for 3 times as much as you need. So we got to keep on asking. And also, too, Dr. Mosier has an important meeting coming up next month with the Hall Family Foundation. So it'll be a start to a conversation, and we can explore some possible fits for some of our programming here on campus. Last thing, Dr. Krieger, thank you, Dr. Krieger, for inviting me to start a fundraising training session with our deans so we can spread the word and the information, and helps me understand their perspectives, and also, too, how we can come together and secure some outside funding for some of their interests and programs that they have. So, last thing, there will be a board prospect coffee. Dr. Mosier and our foundation board chair, Miss Mary Ricketts, will be hosting that. It will be right here on campus on June 11th. It's part of our long-range strategic plan to grow our board, and especially work to attract some alumni who might be interested in serving in that foundation board capacity. So that's coming up too. But thank you very much. Any questions?
Questions? All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Mary's done a fantastic job, so we're really excited about the direction that we're heading. And, excuse me, have some really big projects in the works, and taking on some philanthropic asks, which is new for the college and very exciting to be a part of. And that's the end of my report.
All right. Any questions? A motion to approve the president's report?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the report. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, now we'll have our Marketing and Community Outreach Officer report. Ms. Tammy Bartunik.
Hello there, everybody.
Hello. Good evening.
So, let me first take a second, and I should have mentioned this earlier. I don't know if you've noticed, but Marketing and Outreach, we've redone your table set with the new table covers and scarf and the curtains behind you. So now that when we're live streaming, it has a more unified and branded look. So I just want to point that out. You have the report in front of you, but one thing I forgot to put on here, and I don't know how I forgot this, but to your wings, left and right, you'll see some banners about our T-Bones agreement we have for this season. And Sizzler, their mascot, if you can believe, they allowed us, gave permission for us to put our hat on their Sizzler, thanks to Matt Fowler, did that design for us. So we pitched the idea, and I'm thinking there's no way in the world they're gonna let us put a KCKCC branded hat on Sizzler, but they did. So we're super excited about that. So this season, faculty and staff with their IDs can get in for free into the Blue Devil's Den, Sunday through Friday. We'll also have some giveaways throughout the season, and some of the items in front of you, Mr. Ash, if you can grab that, that is a foldable seat cushion. So like a stadium seat. So we bought that. So if you fold it up into quarters, it'll fit in a jean pocket. So we thought that would get more use. And thank you. And the little blue light up Blue Devil horns, they come fully ready with batteries. And I have some pictures if anybody wants to see of Dr. Mosier wearing these.
They do work.
Scooping ice cream at the ice cream social a few weeks ago. So watch social media, watch Facebook and Twitter. We will have some giveaway nights at the stadium.
Will we wear these
when we go to the T-Mones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can wear them anytime. Take them to work.
There we go.
Wear them at work.
I
I
will.
wore mine.
I will.
Yeah, I have mine in my office. So that's coming
You should
up.
have had it on tonight, so we
Well,
can see what it looks
I
like.
thought about that.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to do that. That's fun. So some, he's gonna put them on, aren't you?
No, he's gonna give him to you.
Yeah. Oh, I'll put them on. Here you go.
Now we're.
There you go. All right.
Oh, very nice.
So now y'all can wear these. And so
It looks
some.
better when you have
Now, if you could
hair.
get that on sizzle, that would be an accomplishment.
Oh. I'll see what I can do. So some tweet activity. We have gone crazy with some of our tweets. Oh my gosh. So impressions, 8,769 on one tweet when Representative Davids visited campus and had a tour. So 8,800 almost on that one. And then 86, almost 8,700 when we pushed out on Twitter our class offerings at Wyandotte High School. So there's obviously an interest in that. You know, almost 8,700 people looked at that tweet, which is super exciting. So our followers are going up on Twitter as well as Instagram, which is all good news. Trustee Criswell, last month you had asked us about ROI with our digital, specifically our digital campaign.
Right.
So with the help of our small but mighty team, and Matt Fowler's here if you have any technical questions, but we, following that meeting, had a meeting with the digital team from KSHB.
Okay.
So we had a big think tank. So what we're able to do is we put some tracking mechanisms online to track when someone hits the actual apply link.
Okay.
So we're thinking that might be a good place to start with some tracking. We do have numbers, but it's kind of premature because we don't really understand yet what that means. But now we're able to follow from when they see something online, where do they go? Do they hit our website, and does that apply? Does that then affect our apply now button?
Got it.
So we're going to try that, and we'll report out when we have maybe a couple months of data, and we can figure out what that means. I also need to get together with Dr. Stephen Terry and his team, and how does that look on the admission side? So stay tuned, but we are working towards that.
Excellent, thank
Okay.
you,
Oh,
thank
you-
you. It's actually one of my follow-up questions, so I think we're definitely on the same page. Well done, well done,
Very
thank you.
good, very good. And I think that's all the highlights I wanted to share. If you have any questions.
No questions, but a comment. I like your can-do attitude. You just try, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm always liking everything that you put out there on
Yep.
Facebook, so I see what you're doing, so.
Thank you, appreciate that. It's a small
Tammy,
but mighty team.
I've got a question on some of the social media stuff, and I don't understand it a whole lot, but when we're putting some of that stuff out, particularly like the stuff on the classes at Wyandotte, are we doing any geofencing or anything like that to target particular areas to?
Not when we just kind of throw out tweets like that. We are doing fencing with what we're paying for our digital adding.
Okay.
So we are buying keywords, we're buying zip codes and other things so that
Right.
we are getting to the folks within zip codes and certain areas.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
So yes.
Any other questions? Can I have a motion to accept the report?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We accept the marketing and community outreach report. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay,
Thank you.
Look at Dr. Mosier back his ears.
Horns. All right, now we will have a report from the VP Academic Affairs Report, Dr. Beth Kruger. I can't get it right. Krieger.
It's fine. No worries at all. That's the biggest problem I have today. I'm doing very, very well. So please, no worries. You have my report in front of you, but I just want to mention a few highlights. One of them is Dean Cecilia Brewer, who led our Pledge of Allegiance tonight, participated in a panel discussion on assessment at the Assessment Matters Conference in April at Johnson County Community College. And I think that's pretty awesome that she's seen as a leader in
Right.
assessment here in the community. Another highlight I'd like to bring up is our Learning Commons open house, which I attended here. That was extremely well attended. There's some photos in there for you. I'm trying to include more photos in my report so that you can actually see some of the faces of KCKCC who you may not see at the board meetings. And I know many of you do attend these events, and that's greatly appreciated. So thank you. Another very exciting thing going on, or that was going on here, was Heather's the Musical. And this show brought the best audience numbers in years, approximately 230 per performance. Yay. And then a high school matinee brought in 200 people, and apparently many inquiries about going to school here. So that's awesome. The office professional students received customer service and event planning. They staffed the Get Hired KC Job Fair in April, and they were able to check in people and get some good experience with that event. I also was very excited to be invited to attend the advisory board meeting for the business department in May, and I met some really interesting people from the business world, and they were giving their feedback to the faculty about the programs and whatnot. So it's always exciting to meet people out in the community who are part of our advisory board. This is very exciting. Skills USA. We had a lot of winners. If you look at the end of my report, it's almost 2 full pages of winners. And I just, if we can, if the students aren't all here right now, but if we can just give them applause, I would really be grateful for that. And many, many thanks to the faculty and staff who support those students as well. The Hall of Fame, which was mentioned tonight, that was catered by the Culinary Arts Program. And I know many of you, again, were in attendance for that, and it's really exciting to see what our culinary students can do. We have a lot of great programs here, and that was one thing that attracted me to this college, was there's a lot of really good programs for students here. Then part of the last, or near the end of my report, there was a fire academy final skills assessment and live burn, and there's some pictures there, and I was able to attend that for the entire weekend, and it was really incredible. And Dean Dr. Bohm, who isn't here right now, she's at her student recognition ceremonies. She actually was able to put on the bunker gear and observe the burn and so forth. So that was fun. As mentioned, tomorrow night is the nursing pinning at 7 o'clock. And then I'd like to end with a report on our Kids on Campus. This is pretty exciting. We have 150 enrolled as of today. We have the staff that has been hired is 1 director, 2 assistant directors, 2 classroom instructors, 3 sports professionals, 12 team leaders, and 1 team leader / office assistant. We also have some volunteers. And we have a variety of supporters. For example, the KCK Public Library, USD 500, University of Notre Dame, the KC Medical Society and Foundation, Bike Walk KC, KC STEM Alliance, David and Vic's Deli, Cum Laude Education Consultants, KCK Parks and Recreation, and Kansas City Urban Outdoors. And we're very, very grateful to all of them for support. We're very, very grateful to all of them for supporting our Kids on Campus. And I'm happy to try to answer any questions you might have this evening.
Any questions? Sounds wonderful.
And I'd like to say congratulations for having a wide, varied group who are supporting this. I think that will make the program very exciting.
Thank you so much for your comments. I appreciate it. Yes, I would be happy to. And if I'm stealing the HR chief HR officer's thunder, I apologize, but I will be happy to do that. Dr. Cynthia Gaddu is our new Director of Assessment. Could she please stand? And I believe I may have mispronounced your name. It's Godot, isn't it? I am so sorry.
Okay, so you caught up with me.
I sure did.
Paying
Yeah.
it forward. He was paying it forward.
You know, I've made so many mistakes today that I bet I could beat all of you if you put all your mistakes together. So there we go. But let's talk about Dr. Godot. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. I'm just a little nervous. I mean, she has so much experience. It's like overwhelming. So she served as an assessment expert, researcher, and instructor. Prior to joining us, she served as the assessment specialist for both the Division of Undergraduate Studies and the Division of Student Affairs at the University of Kansas. Yes, we got her from the University of Kansas. And she holds a Doctor of Philosophy in Human Sciences from Oklahoma State, a Master in Science and Merchandising from the University of North Texas, and a Bachelor of Arts in Journalism from Langston University. And again, I apologize to Ms. McGee if I stole her thunder in introducing our wonderful new employee. So thank you so much.
And I just had a comment. I'm pleased to see the service event in here, the Expunged Resource Services, so I look forward to hearing more about that. So I was glad to see that in there, reaching out to all segments of the population.
I agree. I was really excited to see that as well. I think that's a great service to our community. So thank you for recognizing that. I appreciate it.
Real quick,
Yes, sir.
the Director of Assessment, I'm just curious as to what she will be assessing. Is that incoming? Is that incoming students placement? Is it assessment of students on campus? Is it program assessment, or exactly what is it? All the above? Is that all the above? I was afraid of that. Okay.
Yeah, it's both learning, academics, student affairs, the whole 9 yards.
Excellent.
Great.
And I know she'll hit a home run, so we can go with the theme tonight.
Look forward to your reports on that. That's good.
Okay, thanks you so much.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it.
All right. Any questions?
Move approval of the report.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the report. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Great news, great news.
Exciting.
All right, next we'll have the VP Student Affairs Report. Dr. Delphia Wilson.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hope everybody's having a wonderful week so far. I want to start by bringing up a couple of points that Dr. Mosier, again, stole my thunder, about graduation. As we all know, everything this month has been pretty much very focused on graduation, and I do want to recognize all of our staff, our employees, our faculty who make it possible. It does take a village to put together a commencement ceremony and to get our students graduated. For me, it is wonderful to see students coming in, but it's even better to see them graduate. So it's almost like a very warm feeling to see our students walk that stage. So I do want to thank our faculty for being patient with our students and entering their grades on time so that we can do degree checks and get these students graduated. So thank you so much for that, faculty. And of course, our student success advisors, our registrar's office, and Ms. Andrika, and the rest of their hard work trying to put this graduation together. So we will be very excited on Thursday. Hopefully the weather will hold for us and we will not get wet. But just in case, Andrika said we have 150 umbrellas available that we can possibly use. But I'm just kind of hoping that we're going to stay dry. So this evening, I want to really give most of my presentation time to Dr. Stephen Terry. He is going to share some information with the board about our KPIs. I think you remember in the past, for the last 3 years that Dr. Terry and I have been here, every year, usually around this time, if not, June, he presents our enrollment management key performance indicators, and these are specific to just enrollment management. They complement the overall college KPIs, but these, again, they focus on enrollment. So if Dr. Terry can come up.
Thanks. Good evening. Thanks for having us. So as Dr. Wilson shared, these are not the Kansas Board of Regents approved KPIs for the institution. Those include things like various assessment statistics, financial indicators, employee satisfaction. These are specifically related to our strategic enrollment management plan that we've worked on for the last 3 years. I can't believe it's already been 3 years. It's gone fast, and it takes a team to make all of this work. But on the first page of the report there, we'll just go through some of these. There are other things that we measure every day. I work very closely with our Office of Institutional Effectiveness. All of this data comes from the Office of Institutional Effectiveness, and I worked closely with Chris Day and Dr. Mihir on the collection of all this data. And so what you see there on the first page around our spring enrollment, just very quickly, if you look there at the number of students that we're down for spring enrollment, just 16 students, folks, 16 students out of over 5,000 students we were down just this spring. And if you think about in the fall, as our wrap up in our January report, we were down 5 students in the fall and 16 students in the spring. We need about 400 more students to meet our summer goals. I think we're on the path to get there. We just had, I just saw some communication from some academic deans this evening about adding a few more courses for summer, so I'm excited about that, courses that are already at capacity. And so that kind of just gives you an overall idea about where we are. Now across the state of Kansas, enrollment is down around 2.6%, and that's with all 19 community colleges combined. And across the nation, as reported by the National Student Clearinghouse, enrollment is down across the nation at about 1%. And so where we are right now with our enrollment and over the last 3 years with the leveling off and stabilization of our enrollment decline, I think is positive, and I think it speaks volume of the retention efforts and the student success initiatives and our academic partners as well. And so I'm happy to report that I think that we're doing well. There's always room for improvement, but as you can see, we're beating the benchmarks across the state of Kansas. And so for your first KPI there, increase our credit hour generation by 2.5%. We don't have to speak specifically about every single one of these, but if you have questions, please ask. As you know, when there are readily available jobs, good paying jobs in the community, students don't go back to school as much, right? They're in their jobs and out there making a living. And so even though we have seen some changes in our credit hour generation, I believe that we'll be able to get there with summer. We're going to keep working. Our student success advisors are booked out, I think, Shay, 2 weeks on appointments. Every single student success advisor, 2 weeks full of appointments. So hopefully we'll be able to hit our summer goals. Increased percentage of graduating seniors. We've had a challenge in the past where our students that were graduating from local high schools in our county and Leavenworth, they were going to other institutions. Even those students that were working with our dual and concurrent enrollment, we saw that a lot of those students were going on to four-year institutions that were able to provide some different scholarship opportunities. And so what this specific KPI is suited for is to show you that we're working hard to be the first college of choice for our graduating seniors in Wyandotte and Leavenworth County. And you can see an increase there. Our third one is the increase the percentage of adults. Now, when we have high school students that are high school concurrent and dual enrollment numbers are growing, our adult student population has had a little bit of a decline. And again, I attribute that to jobs, the economy, what's going on in our community, and being able to lower our unemployment rate for the county. And so that's where I see that happening. But we're going to continue to work for our non-traditional student population. Just spoke to the increase in high school and dual and concurrent enrollment, so you can see that that's really exciting. And I'll tell you that we are fourth in the state of Kansas for our growth over the last 5 years. That's 21% increase in our high school partnership program. That's something to be commended for our high school partnership team, as well as our academic deans for really supporting that high school partnership program and all the faculty that teach in those. So 5-year percent increase at 21%. And to tell you that this fall, our 2018 KBOR reported at 95% pass rate for those students in those courses. So that's exciting.
Stephen, I'm sorry to take you back to number 3 real quick.
Number 3, ready.
What's the definition of an adult? Is it anybody beyond high school?
So what we did on this, for the sake of this report, is we did students 20 years old and above. And the reason we did that for this report is because we have high school students that are 19 years old.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Sorry.
So seeing no questions, number 5, summer enrollment. I just told you we're a little bit down right now. So seeing no questions, number 5, summer enrollment. I just told you we're a little bit down right now for summer. We're hoping that we're going to make it that's still summer pending. But we've had growth over the last couple years in our summer enrollment, and we think that we'll be able to do that again. Increase the number of completed applications. This is a student initiative as we think about our application, student enrollment initiative as we think about our completed applications. The reason why you see the dip in applications there is that historically all high schools in the county required students, their graduating seniors, to complete a college application as part of their senior seminar course. Now what that meant was that they were completing a college application with us, which was great because that gave us amazing information to be able to reach out with those students, but not all of those students really intended to come to Kansas City, Kansas Community College. And so what we've done now on the application is we've put a response there on what kind of student are you, a student type, and then what is your intent, at what level is your intent to attend the college, so that we're able to start really looking at that data and having more accurate numbers about our application, our inquiry to application, and then to our enrollment. That's called our yield. That next,
Is that where that 2016, 17, is that how that 22.76% happened?
That's exactly how that happened. More high schools, especially USD 500 in their senior seminar course, as part of the Diploma Plus initiative, required all students to complete a KCKCC application, not just KCKCC application, but other schools they could pick. And our application is free, so which one would you pick? Right?
Thank you.
So that's where that huge bump came, and I think now we're here on number 7 is the number of students that did not end up enrolling with us after completing an application and the number of students that did. And now these are going to be first-time students, and you'll see that we're right around 43% of our students that complete an application end up enrolling with the college, which is pretty level with other trends at other community colleges. The last one I'll speak with you tonight, and then you can ask questions about some other ones maybe that aren't on here that you'd like to see, is our overall fall to spring retention. Now, KBOR, when they calculate retention, they look at fall to fall. And with our KBOR fall to fall retention rate, we're right around 60%. There's only 4 community colleges in the state of Kansas that have a higher retention rate fall to fall than we do. But one of the things that we look at in student affairs is we also look at our fall to spring retention rate because that's just important. Now, our students, we have a large stop-out population of our students because they can afford to attend one semester, maybe they can't afford to attend a second. But our fall to spring retention rate, you can see, hovers right around that 55%. And this semester, we actually had a significant decrease in our fall to spring. We did more financial aid this year than we had done in previous years. I think we reached out to those students. Our student success advisors called and emailed, and we used text messaging to get a hold of every single student that we could. And you can see that our retention, we have some work to do. But we have some good initiatives. Some of the things that we're doing around our new CRM system, the Advise module, will have high student engagement, and we're going to see some return on investment there, and it's going to be great how we continue to serve our students. What kind of questions can I answer for you? There's lots of other metrics that we're looking at all the time, but these are the ones that I thought would stand out to be able to give you really an overall picture of the work that our great teams are doing.
I do appreciate you giving us these KPIs like this because this is very important information. I was looking at number 8, and I think you just probably addressed it some there, but the fact of those not returning, and I know for various reasons, they here in the fall and they don't come back in the spring, but is our retention efforts starting to really focus on that, looking at the ones who are here in the fall, and then seeing, because we have the early enrollment. Are they enrolling early? And if not, what are we doing to contact them to see why they're not pre-enrolling? Because that could also tell us whether or not they're planning to return.
Yeah, those are great questions, and we can always do more. I'll tell you that we implemented a new student success model, and one of the parts of that model is that we were more proactively going at our students instead of being reactive and waiting for them to come to us. And so some of the things that we're doing now with our Student Success Center and our great Student Success Advising team is that we're doing online advising, we're doing phone advising, we're doing scheduled appointment advising so that our Student Success Advisors are ready and prepared for when that student comes into the office and not just waiting for them to walk in. We are proactively reaching out to students to get them to come back and have those conversations instead of waiting for them to come to us.
And I did see the retention report from Shay that's later in here, but I just still want to ask you that.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're doing great stuff. We have 2 longtime Student Success Advisors that are retiring with us. Carla Pestock, I don't think Carla's here, but she's been with the college, 35 years? Is that right, Sean Shay? 35 years Carla's been with the college. We also have Scott Smith over at the Tech Center. He's been with the college since before the merge, was a counselor with the public school, and I think this is right at 25 years as well. And so We have two of our mentors, two of our great advisors that really have a lot of knowledge, and we're looking to hopefully be able to fill those positions. And so those will be available soon.
Yes, and I was wanting to mention Carla Pestock because I know the passion that she has for students. She's been here a long time, and that will be a void because of the passion that she has for the students all these years. So we wish her the best in her retirement, but she will be missed.
She sure will. Thank you. What else can I help with? Any questions I can answer or comments?
Well, I like the, you know, you've got a couple of things in place. There's early warning that you're requesting of faculty and so on, which I think has really good potential to impact on some of the things you're doing. So I think some of that you already have in place as it goes over time could have an impact. And the other one's that intrusive counseling. I think, Stephen, you were talking about that.
Sure. So
We're not
purposeful
waiting for them to come
counseling,
in.
we're trying to figure out that word. Is it intrusive? Is it purposeful? But we're around our advising model. One of the things that we're implementing this summer and that's really exciting is called My Majors. And what this is going to be, it's a partnership that we have, and every student will be able to take an intake survey to get them on a path to success, and it'll identify what their interests are and where they would fit. And they're going to utilize that. We're going to ask them, it's free, and they can utilize this assessment as part of our Career and Transition Center that we're going to open. And they'll be able to utilize that assessment to really put them on a path. They'll walk right out of that office into a student success advisor's office and talk about that path. Because if we can keep students on a path instead of just taking classes here and there, if we can give them a path and show them the light at the end of the tunnel, they're more likely to be retained. And so that's a great partnership that we're going to be able to roll out this summer. Can't wait for you to be able to see that.
Well, it's just developing those relationships that we talk about all the time.
Yes, sir.
Those students know that we really care about them.
Right.
Working to help them. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Good stuff.
And congrats on the career ladder concept. You know, that just ups our percentages significantly with career development and career planning. And it's exciting.
Yeah, we're excited about it.
Students all of a sudden have a reason for being there.
Okay, well, thank you. That concludes my report. If you have any questions, just send them our way, and I'm happy to help.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion to accept the report?
I have one real quick question. Sylvia, I should know this because I think I've asked you before. What's a 10-1 international status student?
Student with a.
It's F1.
It's F1.
F1, a student who has a visa, student visa to be here to take classes with us.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Try not to
Move
ask that
for
question
approval
again.
of-
I think I've asked it before.
Move for approval of report.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the report. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much. All right, now we will have a report from the Information Services, Mr. Peter Gabriel.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I feel like I'm going back in time. I'm bringing notes on a piece of paper. You have my report, but there's a couple of things I wanted to mention regarding our the phone system, mainly. The current phone system, the new phones going into the classrooms. We have a few pieces going there. So we have the SIP trunks, which will the data for the phone system will communicate over the internet over SIP trunks instead of the old PRI system that we currently have now, which is kind of like plain old telephone system lines. Those are in place now. We have a plan to either on June 7th or June 21st to work with the vendor reporting our phone numbers away from and the vendor reporting them to basically the vendor from our SIP trunks. Those have both happened to be Fridays, so there won't be any downtime on the phone system while anyone's here. We will test numbers. We won't be able to test them all because we have about 1,000 DID. So we have the whole 7,000, right, 288, 7,000 range. So we'll randomly test that range, not the whole set of numbers. We're not sure on the 7th or the 21st yet. We're waiting on confirmation from the vendor and a tech from the Avaya system to make sure we have the resources on staff that we need when we make the conversion. And as far as the phone system goes, for the phones in the classrooms, we are deploying those. We're a little behind schedule. We had some things come up in information services that we slowed us down a little bit. We have the humanities hallway completed. Every classroom in the humanities hallway has a phone in the classroom. We've upgraded the infrastructure of the phone system, so the servers behind the phone system and things, but we're still utilizing the same hardware, where we don't have plans to change out all of the phones on campus. The phones that we're purchasing now to put in the classrooms average between $10 and $15 for the phone. They're fully functional, they're just like every other phone that we have on every other desk. It's just a way to do that. And even with us upgrading the infrastructure of the phone system, it doesn't require us to replace all the hardware across the 3 locations. As far as the infrastructure of that, we're upgrading to the new system, which will allow us to take advantage of the SIP trunks and improve our call quality, eliminate the need to dial the 4-digit code to get an outside line, or not to get an outside line, but the 4-digit code to dial long distance. Long distance will be free anywhere in the U.S. and Canada. And I believe we're still back and forth with the vendor on that, whether Mexico is included in that. But the only thing we'll have to pay for on calls would be international calls. So that's been upgraded. Like I say, we're in the process of putting the phones in. Humanities hallway's done this way. Everyone's back and we're fully staffed, so we should be moving across this summer and replacing all the classroom phones. That was really the only couple of updates I had. I'll take any questions on the report if you have any.
Questions? All right. Can I get a motion to accept the report?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the report. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now we will have a report from the Human Resources Officer, Ms. Christina McGee.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I have a short report for May. Between the mid-April and May, this is our opportunity for benefit enrollment and identifying our benefits and working with our broker, and so this is a big month for us in terms of benefits. But I just wanted to take the opportunity tonight to recognize Mary Bautista, and so speaking of butchering names tonight, I guess I'm another one. But I want to recognize her for completing the faculty development track through KCPDC, and so I just want to congratulate her. Don't believe that she's here this evening, but just wanted to at least recognize and congratulate her. And also, I just wanted to share some additional training information. I spoke last month about trainings that we're offering to employees as it relates to our employee evaluations, particularly for staff, and just wanted to share with you the specific training sessions offered, as well as our attendance. So we're going to continue throughout the year in developing the training programs that we're offering to employees and making an actual training program and calendar, but just wanted to share and highlight that information since I mentioned it in the April board meeting. So that's all I have. I'll answer any questions that you may have.
You know, Christina, on that last piece you were talking about, is that mandatory training? Because it seems like every employee would have some kind of training around that new evaluation system. So it looks like you have a lot of people still to train.
So we did have mandatory supervisor training in March and I believe the first part of April. And so that's mandatory, and we do speak about evaluations in that training as well for supervisors. So that was mandatory. And we trained, I don't have the numbers in front of me. I think I put it in the last report, but roughly around 55 to 60 supervisors for the mandatory supervisor training. And these are just supplemental trainings just for employees and supervisors.
So you feel pretty good about where you are in the training?
Yes.
Great.
And we'll continue the supervisor training throughout the year.
Thank you.
I just have a comment, and I guess personnel is the place to make it for another longtime employee who is retiring, and that's Marie Brandstetter. She has been the rock, the foundation for the financial part of it here. And if you've been here for a while, you know that, because through not having a CEO for a while or not having people in the business office, she has been here 30-some years and just knows everything about that. So she will be missed, and I just had to mention her as well as retiring and want her to know that we do appreciate all the services that she has done and has been the rock for the financial part of this institution for knowing what's going on.
Absolutely. Any other questions? Could I get a motion to accept the report?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the Human Resources Officer report. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much. Now we will have a report from the Finance and Administrative Services report. Mr. Mike Beach.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I guess I'll just talk down. You have my report in front of you. I won't take a lot of time with this, but just a few highlights. We are in the nearing the end phases of our zero-based budgeting process. We have a few adjustments to make, but we are very confident that we will have a draft for the Finance Committee and the Board to review in your meeting next month, in meetings next month. We continue to do a great job of projects on campus while we're acknowledging efforts done by individuals here on campus. Our facilities team just shines all the time. They're trying to balance multiple projects, and despite balancing projects with a limited number of staff, we have our Learning Spaces initiative going on, and just as soon as the rooms were vacated, they were in and pulling out walls and pulling out furniture and getting right after it. So a shout out to our facilities team. We had a little bit of a flooding issue with this upper lake today that we commonly have when we get heavy rains and the flash floods come down through the woods, and there's a debris catcher here, and that was brought to my attention, and I gave Jeff Sixta a call, and he was right on it, basically making the arrangements that as soon as the water could subside to a safe level, he would have guys with debris rakes down there cleaning out the basin, and so water could freely flow once again. So a great job to all of them. Our police department continues to do just a marvelous job for campus, responding to incidences and here on what we do. Financial reports, I won't go through any of them in detail except just a couple of things to just visually highlight. As Trustee Garner indicated, we are financially sound. We believe we're moving in a very, very positive and good direction. Now, that being said, one of the things that somebody's going to look at is they're going to look at the detailed financial statements and go, well, if we're financially sound, then why do we have a $5.8 million loss? And that's, as we joked about in Finance Committee, it all comes down to timing, right, President? It's all timing. So we have another very large tax payment due in June, which is the cycle that we go through, and by the time that tax payment comes in, that loss will go away and we'll be in positive numbers. But we have that cycle waiting for those tax payments, and sometimes they can't come here fast enough, but it is what it is, and we manage our way through it. The area to focus on is that we're just over 77% from an operating expense standpoint spent year to date, 10 months through the year. This is a phenomenal achievement. Again, the caution that I would give to the board and to others here is that these types of budget savings on an annual basis only result in one-time monies. You can never expect them to repeat themselves. While we would love for them to repeat themselves, each year the budget process starts over and it's a new process. So any saved monies this year is one-time money, and it should be reserved for one-time expenses, not being gobbled up in ongoing operating budget types of expenses. Or as we have started initiatives to fund reserves and future projects put away for those types of things. Overall, we're doing good. We've added a few reports that some of you may have noticed. There is a summary revenues and expense that shows budget to actual for current year +3. And then we've added a debt schedule towards the end that basically shows what our outstanding debt is, but it shows each issue that's outstanding and what the original issue amount was. And so if we were to rewind the clock back to the original date of issue of the debt, those original issues amounted to $42.8 million to this institution. And our current outstanding debt balance is 23.9. So we're doing a phenomenal job paying down our debt and being able to give ourselves some room for increased capacity if we need it. We, as indicated, we have some very large projects coming up, and it's probably a pretty sure bet that we're not going to be able to pay for those projects with cash on hand as much as we would love to. And so debt capacity is very critical to the institution as it comes to these long or large strategic projects that we have out there. So, any questions?
No questions. Just actually a request for the next board meeting. I think we had a little bit of conversation about this during the Finance Committee. But Mr. Beach, could you provide the outline list of some of those upcoming projects, just to add some context to some of the reports here? I think it would be helpful to, just to for us as a board to see some of those. But then also, as our citizens ask questions about, well, where's the money going and what are the big projects that are in progress, it's extremely helpful to have that type of information.
Yep, thank you. We will do that.
Thank you.
I don't have a question, but I have a comment. Just kind of follow up on what the CFO said as well as Trustee Criswell. I didn't mention it in my Finance Committee report, but something for the Board of Trustees to think about as well as administration moving forward. There are some big things that we need to take into consideration. Number one is, was brought up in the meeting, was student housing. And I know the President has a strategic plan for that and several options that we're going to need to discuss at some point for long-term student housing and what that's going to look like, as well as our Pioneer Campus, looking at options in regards to facility upgrades or transitions, as well as the ongoing strategic plan to continue to the upgrades to the main campus here at KCKCC. You've seen some of that, and I've mentioned it before several times. You can see some of the things that we have been done when you talk about the campus itself, but to move this college forward to the 21st century environment, our classrooms do need some extensive work, and I know that our President has some options, and those are things that I know long-term, when you talk about, we've taken down our debt, which was spoken of, and we're doing a good job, but these are some high-dollar projects long-term for this board and future boards of trustees along with administration that we're really going to have to take a serious look like if we're going to stay on top of moving this college and keeping up with that 21st century model that we want to be, to make sure that we're giving our students and our administrative and staff the best learning environment possible. So just be aware of that. These are some high dollar items that are going to need to be discussed at some point. So thank you.
Good point.
Any other questions?
Move for approval of report.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the report. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Seeing that we have no unfinished business, we will move to new business. And that is discussion and approval of 2019-2020 board meeting dates and times.
So in your packet, you'll see a document that was put together for proposed 2019-2020 proposed Board of Trustee meeting dates. It follows the same pattern, very similar, as we did this year, along with our 5 o'clock meetings, having 3 9 a.m. meetings so that students can have the opportunity to attend if it fits with their class schedule or if they have the desire to do so. And each one of those 9 a.m. meetings takes place at one of our 3 locations. So here at Main Campus, the Technical Education Center, and at Pioneer Career Center. One adjustment that we've made in relationship to last year's schedule, since that was the first time, our September meeting is now at 9 a.m. It was previously in August, and it was just a bit premature of the students coming on campus. So moving it back to September will be when students are here in session in full force and would have the opportunity to attend if they choose to do so. Otherwise, it is very similar to this year's agenda or schedule. Take any questions?
Trustee Sutton, do you want to raise your?
Oh, you mean about the October
Yeah.
15th date?
I think that's a good point, yeah.
Yes, I mentioned that three of us, Trustee McIntyre, myself, and Chair Brown, are going to the ACC conference. And we will be traveling on October 15th. So I didn't know if you still wanted to have the meeting. You could still have it with 4, but did you want to have the meeting on October 15th with 3 of us at this conference, or traveling to this conference?
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that.
You're probably going too, aren't you, Dr. Mosier, or are you?
I probably am.
Yeah. Is there a problem of moving it back to the 22nd? Seemed like that would be a pretty easy move.
October has 5 Tuesdays, so I wouldn't see it as a big problem.
You want to look at your calendar first, Dr. Mosier?
Unless one of the deans or somebody from staff knows of something.
Yeah.
I see nothing at this point in time, but we can double check and get back with the board on that. So I'm glad that that was noticed.
So do we wait until we make sure that that is acceptable?
Want to table this till June, is that?
If we can table it until next month and give us some time, we'll want to make sure we get it right.
Okay. We'll table this until the meeting on next month.
Great,
All right.
Good
Thank you.
catch.
All right. First review of 12 new policies listed in our library under policies. I believe Trustee Daniels is going to assist us with that.
Well, I'm going to start, and Christina's going to correct anything I might say. As you know, these are a number of policies we're working on. Trustee Sutton and Trustee Ash and I met with Christina and Dr. Mosier a week ago to look at these. Remind you, this is a first read. They are not here for approval this evening, so please take some time to look over those. And if you have any questions or concerns, get back to either Chair Brown or Dr. Mosier, or you contact one of the members of the committee. Otherwise, those will come back in the June meeting for final approval. I would want to point out to you that there are 3 that we have listed here that are not policies and are not seeking board approval. One is college closing procedure, and discrimination and harassment procedure, and performance evaluation procedure. Those are supporting policies that we will be voting on and put in place. These will be, again, administrative procedures that do not require board approval, but do require that board is aware of them and is notified of them. So those 3 items will not be voted on next time because, again, administrative procedure. We will vote on the others to approve them as policy at the June meeting.
Another point of clarification there, don't be confused by the fact that the smoking policy is in there.
Thank you.
Because a few years ago, you'll recall the board adopted a smoke-free campus policy, but we never removed the policy from the policy handbook. So we're not proposing, the smoking policy. What we're doing is we're flat eliminating it finally, forevermore, hopefully from the policy. So That's why it's in there, and that's why it's all redlined, because it is not applicable anymore.
Thanks, Don.
Any other questions?
So that would mean smoke-free, period, on campus. Is that how
That
to
is our
interpret that?
policy.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. I just wanted to make sure. Excellent. Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, tobacco-free campus.
Tobacco-free, okay.
Any other questions? I did mention to Trustee Daniels that a couple of the policies had board approved, but though everything is on draft form, and that we will have an opportunity to discuss them and improve them the next time. Any other questions? Can I get a motion to, we don't need a motion, we just wait until the next time. All right, thank you. Now we are at the point of dismissing for an executive session for consultation with a college attorney, which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship. And do we have two, or are we doing two at once, or are we doing, okay. So the first one is for 15 minutes? Okay, so we got, what's that, 7:20? And we'll be back at 7:35, right?
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded, we adjourn to the executive session. See you in 15 minutes. call the meeting back to order, and we will, oh, I didn't see him, he was not here. Okay,
We're short.
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
We're short, Don.
Countdown.
We can play with
I
our
need a
new
bigger pad.
thing.
Can you get a double one, Tammy, for me?
That's funny.
Is that on the tape?
Oh, no.
I think it looks
Erase
like
that,
the
right?
graduation hat.
There you go.
I thought it was like a thing for your wrist when you're on your computer.
Oh,
That's what I
yeah.
thought.
Same with me. Yeah, exactly.
It's 1/8 of a yoga mat. Yes.
Creativity at its best.
We'll call the meeting back to order, and now we will go into another executive session for consultation with the college attorney, which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship, and we will need about 15 more minutes for the next meeting. So we'll adjourn and see you in 15 minutes, about 8 o'clock.
So moved,
Moved and second that we
All in
adjourn to the
favor?
executive session.
and with adjournment to follow immediately after, since there's no action.
Oh, okay.
That sound good?
Sounds
So we
good.
get to leave.
So,
You better
We won't
take
be
your-
back.
I was going to say, I'm going to take
your
my
blue
thing.
devil